Ready? Welcome back to another episode of the Miami Heat Roundtable. For today's episode, it's just us. All four of us are here today. And we all know today was media day for the NBA. So a lot of things we can unpack and talk about. We heard from Jimmy Butler, who was late to work today, which we can talk about. Tyler Herro had a lot of good things to say. Eric Spoelstra was talking about how he's not scared of the East. And so there's a lot to unpack there. But Trent, let's start off with you. So Tyler Herro, in my opinion, I think he came out and said a lot of good things. Obviously, talking about his availability and being a team player, possibly coming off the bench. So talk is talk, right? But walking the walk is more important, in my opinion. But in general, what are your thoughts on Tyler's perspective in his interview today?
Well, first thing first, Tyler came out looking crazy as hell with that bull crap haircut. He looks crazy. But anyways, I like what he said, man. You can see the maturity level of Tyler Herro in this press conference. I don't know if it's gonna translate into the game or translate a couple weeks after until the season starts. But I mean, one, you could tell he's trying to gain more weight. He said he weighed 189 at the end of the season. Now he weighs 201. So hopefully that can help a little bit. And then also he talked about him playing with Terry Rozier because everybody wants to know how that's gonna work out together. He said he could play more off ball this year. And I just feel like he should just go to the bench. We don't need him playing off ball because I feel like he's more at his best when he has the ball in his hands because he doesn't really bring much to this. I don't know say bring much to the team. He doesn't really bring much outside of that. Like he needs the ball. Like to be him. It's like Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook don't have the ball in his hand, he can't play off ball. Like he's just gonna completely suck. Like that's not him. So I want his full potential, full skill talent because I think this is the last year with this team. Straight up, I think next year is gonna be a crazy off season. I don't know if Jimmy's gonna be here. Tyler might be gone. Like I think it's gonna be something new. But one thing that did stand out to me during the thing, he says last year I came in wanting to average 25 points a game. He says now I just don't want to push no agendas, no all-star or anything. I just want to win games. So that's something big to me. And then he says, he's gonna listen to Pat and the Godfather, like whatever's best for me coming off the bench or starting. But I obviously think he's gonna start because Spo talked about they haven't seen Tyler, Terry, Jimmy, and Bam. So that kind of indicates a starting lineup right there. And also doesn't indicate that Jovic is a starter now. So that's good because Jovic does not deserve to be a starter. I don't care what anybody says. What has he done to be a starter? Please tell me. He hasn't done nothing.
Fair, but who would you rather have in his place?
I'm tired of that question. Stop asking me that question.
Well, then if he doesn't deserve it, you brought it up. Who?
I know, but that question, because we talk about different starting lineups every 5 weeks. We're going to see what they put out there. If it's Haywood Highsmith, if it's Jaime, if it's freaking Kalel Weir, I don't know. But unless Jovic goes out there and takes another leap, right? I mean, that's the only thing we can really wish for. But Tyler Herro didn't say nothing crazy, so, I'm not going to come at him today, Ernest. I know everybody wanted me to hear it coming at him today, but he ain't saying nothing crazy. I think he said the responses we want to hear, to be honest with you. Gaining weight, playing off ball a little bit more, said he's willing to come off the bench and he's no more trying to, chase stuff. I think that's completely fine what he said today. Like Amir said, because I know Amir got a question. I see his mouth moving. Is it going to stay? Is it going to correlate? Is it going to translate? We'll see.
Yes. And let me ask you all this question, though. Do you think Tyler said this shit because he already knew that Spo wanted the four of those players to get more extended time because they were not available? Do you think he's just saying this after the fact that he knew he's like, I'm going to be a starter anyway, so let me just say this to appease the media and to look good? Do you think there's any truth to that statement right there?
Nah, I think he's growing up. I think he's seeing that it's not about him and the way that he can get paid and evolve in this league if he's in a winning organization. Because averaging 20 points a game every season and not showing improvements hinders you. Saying a few years ago that you're on the same level as a Luka Doncic and John Morant hurts you now. I think Tyler Herro knows what he has to do to succeed, not only with this team, but in his career. He needs to shut his mouth, go out there and play and be that 2020 Tyler. Be a better version of that Tyler. I think we're finally seeing the Tyler Herro that we've been wanting after the 2022 season. This dude won Sixth Man of the Year, and it wasn't about the team. It was about, I want to be a starter. I want to be an all-star. I want to be an all-NBA player. I'm in the same level as Luka and Ja. And I think these last 2 years bit him in the ass. And I think reality smacked him in the face. And one thing I'm loving what he says, a point what Trent said, when they asked him that playing question, what did he say? I'm going to leave it to the best coach in the NBA and one of the best executives in the NBA. That is the most grown-up shit that you can say. He's a father now. He's older. He's not old, but he's not a 20-year-old kid anymore. He's in his mid-20s, and he plays a lot with older players. I think he's finally starting to listen.
Yeah.
Plus, that Boston Celtics series woke him up. I think that, that whole thing where, I'm going to be an all-star and I'm going to lead the team, it's like kind of like what Ernest Antran said. He's growing up and he realized that, whoa, like they put me in jail, which they did put everyone in jail. And the thing is, because like a lot of people are going to say, Tyler can't lead an offense. Listen, nobody can handle, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown constantly switching on you. I don't care who you are. You're not going to always be successful every single night. But the thing about Tyler Herro is also, too, yes, he's at 2-0, 201 or whatever, but can he maintain that throughout the regular season? And is he going to be able to translate that weight to the game in terms of getting to the free throw line, getting to the rim to get his average up? But, listen, as long as he's consistent, he doesn't have to have crazy numbers. Can he be consistent? Can he help this Miami Heat team when the offense runs dry? That's the only thing that matters to me, and if he's healthy.
Let me bring this up real quick. Spo did bring up something that caught my attention. He said this offense needs to be fixed. So do you see something different? Because like Amir always brings it up. What's our ranking from last year? Like low 20s or something?
21 offensive rating,
Yeah.
27 in points per game, which was like 109. The Pacers were averaging like 118 or something, 9 points below the top team.
And I think that all changes, obviously, with a healthy team. Because with a Terry and Tyler and Jimmy and Bam, that obviously changes, right? And we could talk about Jimmy and Bam later, but like that offense has always been a problem. We can't compete against a young Indiana team that likes to run. Indiana likes to run. They're so fast. Orlando, they're a nice young team too with length and size, right? The Celtics, the 76ers are Knicks a little bit older, but they just have more talent on paper. So we definitely need to score points against these teams because I don't care what anybody says. On paper at the moment, and they can fall off and suck, a team of Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns just sounds crazy to me. Literally, I think even though they lost the trade, in my opinion, I think they still lost that trade. They gave a first-round pick or a part of a third-team trade, whatever. And their Dante was a huge player who came off the bench, averaging 18 points a game, shooting 40%. That's a huge loss. But at the end of the day, Karl-Anthony Towns could be mid, whatever the case may be. But it spreads out the floor now. Now you don't have Bam in the center now, position guarding the paint. Even though Bam's going to be fine. Bam's great, but you get what I'm saying. He's going to be guarding Cat because he has to guard Cat now outside of the three-point line, meaning the paint could be freely open. And this is with any team. So that offense kind of does scare me. Their bench is weak as hell. I'm not worried about that. I think Thibodeau is going to make that team really, really tired. Like, they're going to run a 7-man rotation. They're going to be gassed out by the second round. That's what Tibbs does. That's literally what Tibbs does. And Cat always does get exposed in the postseason. But at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, on paper, that lineup looks insane.
That matchup makes it difficult. That's a good point because if Cat is spreading the floor, shoots 40% almost from three, shoots 6-7 threes per game. He brings Bam out there. You can't have a Khalil Ware out there guarding, like let's say Mikal Bridges is the 4, right? Or if it's OG is out there at the 4, you can't have that rim protector. No Thomas Bryant's going to be out there. No Khalil Ware for the most part. Maybe I don't know.
It's Haywood and Kashad.
It's gonna be Haywood. Yeah, it's gonna be Haywood or Kashad's gonna have to.
Jaime's another guy. Jaime's up to defense, guys. You're gonna see a lot of players step up this year, and this is exactly why I always say I'm not fazed from any teams in the East. Not fazed, Boston included. 7 games. Fully healthy. I've been saying this for so long, and I'll always say it. I'll be a broken record. Give me a healthy Heat team, 7-game series, we can compete against any of them. New York Knicks traded for Cat. Cool. And you know what? I don't think any of us are going to knock Karl-Anthony Towns' ability. He's a great player. He's a great NBA player. What has he done in the NBA? Thank you.
What has he done? No, Ernest, in the playoffs specifically. When it counts
there we go. The playoffs. What has he done in the playoffs?
His stats.
There you go.
Trent.
There you go. There you go. So you traded playoff Julius for playoff Cat. Let's see what happens.
It's mid. I think it's just a better fit. But Marto,
but just real quick though, what do you guys think about Jimmy Butler being late? I mean, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's not a big deal, this, that, and the third."
Here we go.
I mean, listen, me and Trent, we were cooking, and a lot of other people like were cooking as well. Listen, we all can't be late to our jobs. Jimmy Butler been flying, playing dominoes. He's been in Japan. He was everywhere, or China, wherever he was. He was everywhere. And I'm not saying that it's a huge deal. I just think that when you know Pat and you know Mickey, they're very old school. And when you know that you have old school guys, and the first day you're here, you're late, I just think that's not a good thing. I mean, he said all the right things in terms of the contract and everything like that, and playing the amount of games, which is really good, because if it was the old Jimmy, he probably wouldn't have shown up, or he would have been giving like subliminal jabs. So what do you guys think about him being late?
That he was, Martel. He was giving subliminal jabs, but he was doing it in an older version. And yeah, he was doing it in a more mature version. Listen to one of the things he was saying when he was interviewed. A lot of times he would end these sentences with, well, whatever, I'm here. I think this late thing wasn't a flight issue. I think this was the stint. This was the drama. Every year Jimmy comes in with a new look. This was it. I'm late. You didn't give me the extension. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna create this noise. Jimmy knows what he's doing. Jimmy knows that by coming late, this is gonna be all over ESPN. This is gonna be all over the media outlets. They're gonna be talking about it. And what does that do? I've been saying this since the offseason. You're gonna see Bernie Lee and Jimmy Butler's camp do things throughout the year that is going to nudge the Miami Heat in the direction to give him the extension. He's not going to create drama because he's too old for that crap. He can't just get traded anywhere. He's not 25 where he can just go anywhere and be a star. He's coming to the final years of his career. So instead of being this 29-year-old Jimmy Butler that he was in Minnesota was saying, you effing need me, now he has to do things in a more subtle way. You don't want to give me an extension? Fine. I'm going to show up late to camp. And then I'm going to say all the right things to make me look like the mature person. But at the same time, I'm going to do things to create a situation where drama can come up. Give me my money. You don't do it? Here we go again. This is going to be little stuff you're going to see throughout the whole season. This is Jimmy Butler's camp, just trying to nudge it in their way. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. But from the signs, you can tell that's where it's kind of going. My opinion.
What do you think, Trent?
I think it's a great point. I actually didn't think like that. That's why I'm actually kind of speechless right now. It was a really good point. But to be honest with you, as a Heat fan, I don't even want to talk about as Pat and Spo. I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't want to deal with that. We're like, we just want to go through a season. We go through a bunch of stuff every single year. If it's injuries, 50 different lineups, bunch of just different stuff. The Tyler Herro trade rumors would never go away, right?
Never.
Or just like fake or trade rumors. Like we deal with too much every year. Why do I want to deal with a Jimmy Butler that's just, I like to say, just he's acting a little bit petty. I don't want to deal with that. Just get on my team or just go somewhere else. Like I don't like Jimmy. Like we need you to win a championship, but like don't forget. My dad always says this to me. You're always replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. Everybody is replaceable. I don't care if you're Lucas. Everybody's replaceable in their job.
That's a great point.
Everybody's replaceable. Great example. LeBron left, D-Wade, whatever. We brought in Jimmy. You keep moving. You got your organization keeps moving on. We didn't have a successful stint with you, Jimmy. Cool. And the next 4 to 5 seasons, we're gonna have another star there with Bam. We move on. I don't want to deal with that because you don't have contract. Just go prove me wrong. Go there, have a career year. Actually, not even have a career year. Make sure you're healthy. Make sure when you play those 60 games, I want you trying in those 60 games. Please go into the postseason and make us a 6th seed. We don't want to be stressing out no more about are we getting into the play-in or are we being the 7th or 8th. No, just get us to that top 6. I'm not asking you to be 1, 2, or 3. Give me 4, 5, 6. You talk all this talk. Seeding doesn't matter. Cool. Get that 6th seed. Get that 6th seed. Because this year, I don't care what anybody says, East is probably better than the West this year. I personally believe that. And I always been like the West is the best. I think East is better than the West this year. So there's sitting around, let's have fun. No, because these teams are gonna come out here and win games. They're gonna they don't got time to be playing around. They're gonna go out there. Boston still has to prove people wrong. to win another championship. New York has so much pressure on them because they're making crazy trades. And you know when you put crazy trades, you have so much pressure. So with the 76ers, you picked up Paul George, but you don't know what's going on. So, like, a lot of team has a lot of pressure. We got to go out there and just win. But I do want to ask y'all about this Bam Adebayo stuff because it actually correlates into what I said. Kind of have a question for all y'all. He says, I feel like the East is sneaking up on people. We keep the main thing. The basketball games have to be played. The lineups and everything look good on paper, but at the end of the day, you still have to go out there and play. And then also Spo said pretty much, they asked him a question about the Eastern Conference. He says, you sound scared. They embrace this. They actually want all the smoke from these teams. And that actually gives me more confidence because your coaches and your captain is Bam. They don't care about what's going on. They know they're about to go out there and whoop some ass. So how do you feel about Bam's comments and kind of Spo coming in, trying to change the offense? He ain't scared to know the teams are making moves or anything like that. He just wants to go out there and compete.
Yeah, I mean, it's iron sharpening iron to a certain degree. It's like, if we want to be a winning team, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. So Bam's like, yeah, these other teams are retooling, getting better and stuff, but like, we're not scared. It's all the cliches. Like, you let the chips fall where they can. And Bam's like, we just want to be healthy. Those are the chips that we want. They also asked him, like, what are your thoughts on playing with, Tyler and Terry and Jimmy and whatever? And he's like, I just hope we're healthy. That's the first thing he said. Like, he's like, I don't care. Like, other teams are not scared of us too, right? Other teams, the top teams in the West, the Celtics, the Knicks, they think that, like, they're not worried about the Miami Heat either. We're not worried about them. And that's the right mentality that you should have as a contender. You should be confident in your team, in your abilities. And so I think Bam is basically saying, yeah, cool, you guys improve, but we have a good team too. I believe in this Heat culture. We have the best coach, the best GM. Like, we do have a good chemistry to a certain degree. We've been a successful organization. In my opinion, I'm old school. I don't take it for granted. We went to 3 ECFs, 2 finals. But what did Pat Riley say at the end of the year? We ultimately fell short of our goal with Jimmy Butler, and this build is to win a championship. That's all that really matters, right? We don't need a participation trophy. But I'm excited that all these teams are getting better around us because it's going to make us better. The competition is going to be better. You said earlier, Trent, too, the East is getting better than the West. Used to be the West was always better. The worst team in the West, the 8th seed, always was like 5 or 6 games above 500. In the East, the 7th and 8th seed used to be below, right? That's changed. And also, all these guys from the West are coming to the East to make it more competitive. Paul George, Damian Lillard. Now we swap out. I think Towns is better than Randall. Not like head and shoulders, but he's still a better player. So it is getting more competitive. I think it's a good thing. And Eric Spoelstra is like, why should we be scared? We believe in ourselves. We believe in our team. So
that's the exact confidence. Like, and that right there is why he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. Your players feed off of that. Exactly. If Spo comes in and has that confidence about his players, says that about his players are going to feel that way. That's what all the players are saying, and that's a stigma with us. We've all talked about this, and we all make jokes. I call it the LeBron curse. Other people call it bad luck. But the fact is that this team, our stigma is we're never healthy, and that's what everyone knows. And the fact that even the players are saying all this, that tells you right there that everyone doesn't just know it. Everyone is effing annoyed by it. It's, like, we're done with this. We're done with this because we know what we're going to go through every year. It's like we're going to have this great year and we're going to get stopped by injury. I think this is the year. And this is going to go back to what Trent said in the beginning of the episode and what I've been saying for months now. This whole run it back mentality. And when we say run it back, it doesn't mean bringing back the same team. It just means bring back Tyler Herro. Because let's be real, we've changed this roster. We just haven't changed the big 3. But this is the final year of the Jimmy, Tyler, Bam team if they don't make it to the finals. Because I'll be real with y'all. If the Heat make it to the finals, you're going to see this team again. You're going to see this team again. Maybe even Eastern Finals. So, you know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like, it's kind of like a good thing and a bad thing. Yeah, if we go really far, that's great. But now we got to give Jimmy the extension. Do you want to give him the extension going into 37, 38? So that's why I always say, live in the moment. Don't worry about next year. What's living in the moment? We all want the same thing, a championship. How do you do that? Full health. Jimmy said it in the interview. They mentioned it. They mentioned to him about Pat Riley's comments. Even Jimmy said he wants to play more games in the season. Is that truthful coming from a guy who took the 3rd game off last year for rest? Like, does he really mean that?
After missing the preseason. After missing the preseason, so you already were rested.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Let's see what happens. We know what this team is. We know in the playoffs, we can compete with some of the best if we're fully healthy. But it's all about taking the regular season seriously. Being 6, that's another thing that might bite us in the ass. Go for top 4.
Yes,
Get
please.
home court advantage.
Thank you.
Do something different. Look at 2022. That was awesome when we were first seed. Get a top 4 seed. That should be the commitment. Trent said it months ago. Trent said this in November of last year. Take the regular season serious. Because when you take the regular season serious, you're setting yourself up for success in the playoffs. And I remember at that time when Trent said that, I'm like, look, bro, as long as we get to the playoffs and we're fully healthy, we can beat anyone. We need to get that mentality out. And that's just because of what happened in 2023. That shit is over. Get healthy, see what you can do. If it doesn't work, blow it up.
Now, let me ask you a question, right? Because this is not involving media day, but we didn't get to talk about it too much. So how do you feel about the front office actually trying to trade for Julius Randle? Does that, because I feel like, to me, maybe I'm overlooking at it, indicating that they're trying to improve the roster somehow, some way. And so it looks like they're trying to trade for.
So just real quick, because I got to bounce, but that means that there's moves in the making, but it's only going to be for the right price and it's only going to be for the right deal. But they're going to be constantly looking, especially by the trade deadline. They're definitely going to shake something up.
Yep. I think it's more of like it's interest. I think it's just rumor. I think it's more of like Miami called for New York, said, hey, what do you want for Julius? We want this. No. That's what I think it was.
But that's something, though.
It's something. Yeah, it means they want to grow. It means they want to grow. We know they want to change this team. You're not going to put Tyler Herro's name in rumors for years if you don't want to change this team. They want to change the team. It's just got to be at the right price.
We're always looking to make upgrades to our roster. Like that's what Pat Riley does. You know, like he's always scouting and looking for, if it's not the next whale, like to incrementally improve this team. Like, so it doesn't shock me. Like this doesn't shock me across any of the contending or like the upper teams in the NBA. Because did you expect this trade at this? Did you expect the Knicks to make another blockbuster?
But you think Julius Randle is is gonna change? Like even if the trade went off, that's what I'm like. You're calling for Julius Randle.
I check in.
I mean, bro. I think that's what it is. I think like Miami. It's not like, hey, would you do Duncan? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, would you do something like small like that? They're just trying to say, and I don't even think the Heat would even make that trade. I just think it's more of like innuendo of like they talked about it, and that's
make that call, Ernest. I'm sure. Well, Randall got traded, so I'm sure the Knicks were shopping him around. Hey, Miami, what like, would you be interested? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, Bam and Randall next to each other. Who do you want?
I don't think
a first round pick and this, and they're like, click, like. You know what I mean? I don't think we outbound went to the Knicks. I think Knicks.
I don't think so.
Shopping him around, right? And called our front office. I think that's the reason why.
I don't think the interest was really that serious. Like I'll be honest with you. Like
right.
I didn't see anything about it except for that one report. And when I see a little report like that, that's not confirmed by guys like Ira, Ethan, Anthony Chang. That doesn't really tell me much. It's like, all right, whatever.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That report's everywhere. That's a huge report everywhere.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about like specifics for Miami and New York. There wasn't any details relayed. It was just they talked.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I'm assuming we didn't seek it though. We didn't look outward.
No, I'm just saying, bro. Talking means I'm telling you, don't be surprised if there's a trade.
Yeah.
Oh no, dude, no. The only time that I would have told you, oh no, the Heat are not making a trade, was after 2020. I don't know if y'all remember. Houston wanted Tyler. They were willing to give up Harden, and Miami said no. Tyler at that time was untradeable. Remember that. We are where we are. So
listen,
I think now they're willing to change. It's just gotta be at the right price because they don't want to get themselves over the second apron. I think that's really what Miami's doing. They're trying to contend, like they're trying to have it all. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They want to contend, but they want to stay under the second apron, but they want to keep all these young players and build for the future.
Can't do all, buddy.
That's what they're trying to do, and as we're seeing, it's not working.
But look, but I made a video on Nazir Little. It's non-guaranteed, but I feel like if the contract, if he stays, does get guaranteed, correct?
By a certain date, yeah.
Yeah, by a certain day, so they would have to remove somebody from the team. They know that.
Waive someone. They would have to trade a Thomas Bryant or kick someone off. They
keep Little though? Do they keep him?
Depends on how he plays.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Depending on he plays. Like, honestly, bro, I think they picked up Nazir Little for December and January. Like, those are the times in the season where all these guys miss so much time. Like, I think it's just like the
Well,
boring.
but if that's not to cut you off, but if that's the case, we will go over the second apron then.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a certain point, but he's non-guaranteed. So either they'll waive him, or they'll either waive Thomas Bryant or Josh Richardson, or trade one of them. Like, you can do that.
Or give him a two-way, which I don't think he'll take. I read something about that. He could. Oh no, because he's too old. He's been in the NBA for 5 years. You're right.
I mean, they have avenues, but if there's one thing I will like always like say, Andy Ellsberg's the best numbers guy in the NBA. He'll never let Miami get into a bad situation like that. He knows what to do to keep us under these lines. He's been doing that forever.
There's a 0% chance this rendition of the team as is will be a second apron team, because they know they can contend if healthy, but they're not an elite top contender even when they're still healthy, right? Like, we still have to compete if we're healthy. It's not like we're a Boston or a New York that's like, oh, we're gonna be a top 2 team no matter what. So I don't think we're gonna be close to a second apron team to deal with the penalties of a second apron team with this roster. Like, it's just not gonna fly, I don't think. But before we hop off though, let's close here. So going back, and let's end on Jimmy Butler. So again, he was saying all the right things. Ernest thinks that could be subliminal, perhaps, or he could be sincere. Who knows? I'm leaning towards maybe it's more sincere. Who the hell knows with Jimmy Butler? But he was saying about the extension, it's just a few extra dollars. It's not a big deal. I'm going to play, because it's like referencing the availability in the extension, right? So he's like, I just want to hoop. I'm going to play. It's just a few dollars. We can worry about that later. Based on that, do you see a world, though, Ernest? I think you mentioned earlier, if we make it to the ECSF or the finals, we're going to run it back for the 7th time with this team. Do you see a world, though, where if that's the case, and if the money's not an issue for Jimmy Butler and he really wants to win and really wants to stay in Miami, like he said today, will he opt into that contract and then sign like a 2-year, 3-year deal similar to what DeMar Rosen did with the Kings? Like, because DeMar Rosen, same age, not the same caliber player as Jimmy, but still a good player. He got 25 million, 26 million, like a year, 75 million, 3 years. That is something that's more feasible that I'd be willing to do with Jimmy Butler. Yeah. Is he willing to do that? Do you think that's the case? Because he's saying money is not an issue now.
Dude, look, I'll be real. I want Jimmy Butler to retire a Miami Heat player. I got a Jimmy Butler jersey on. Like, I want Jimmy to retire in this team. I'm a huge Jimmy fan. I think Jimmy and the Miami Heat are a match made in heaven. The problem is not keeping Jimmy. And the problem is not, is the money. I think it'd be great if Jimmy would take less money because he doesn't play a full 82 games. I love Jimmy Butler on the Heat team, but one thing I am, bro, I'm a Heat fan for life, bro. I've been a fan since 95. And it's like what Trent said earlier. Everybody's replaceable. I was here during the Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway days. I was here during the Dwayne Wade days, the LeBron James, Chris Bosh days, the Jimmy Butler days. People always move on. And with Jimmy Butler, as much as I love him here, I don't want this to be a Kyle Lowry situation where Kyle Lowry was brought here at 35, gave us one good year, and then gave us a bunch of trash seasons because he was over the hill, and you were paying him a buttload of money. That's where you're getting to with Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy on this team. I don't want Jimmy to leave this team, but to pay Jimmy Butler $50 million a year when he's giving you less games every season, and it's not going to be like he's magically going to play more. Guys, I promise you, he may play 65, 70 games this year. That's to get the bag. Next year, if he gets that contract, it'll be 58 games. And we're going to be in the same situation we are now. As much as I love Jimmy, and as much as I want Jimmy to stay, and as much as I want Jimmy to win the championship, I'm a huge Jimmy Butler fan. I'm not trying to be hypocritical or be like, oh, no, I want to keep. No, I want him to stay. But it just doesn't make sense. Kobe Bryant, as much as we all love and respect Kobe, I'm sure all of us can agree those last 2 years the Lakers gave him with that money, not being able to get other players, bit the team in the ass, bro. So it goes now. Kobe deserved that because he gave him 5 titles. Jimmy hasn't won a title here. Like, do I want him to stay? Yes. Do I feel that he'll take less money to stay? Hell yeah. He should definitely do that. Take into account that you don't play a full 82. But if he's not willing to do that, he's going to see what Paul George just got. And if he tells Miami, that's what I want, I'll tell Jimmy, go get that in Chicago then, bro. Go get that in one of these other teams. It was great having you. We loved you. This story was amazing. The memes were the best, but Nah, bro, it's not worth it at $50 million a year to have somebody that's just playing less and less games. Like I just don't think that's going to benefit the team. I want him to stay. I want to keep him, but not at max money, bro.
Yeah, sounds good. Any closing thoughts? You're muted, Amir. Amir, you're muted.
You're muted, Amir.
Son of a bitch. So what? Preseason's October 2nd, 3 days for this week. So we're gonna get some preseason.
October
basketball.
8th. October 8th.
Is it 8th? I thought it was October 2nd. I could be wrong.
October 8th.
So next week. Okay, so we got preseason coming up soon. So we'll actually have some game time. We'll get to see the rookies. We'll get to see some rotations that Spo will be tinkering in. We'll see Jimmy Butler. We'll see. Hopefully he plays this preseason and doesn't get braces or something or whatever he's going to do again with his dental work. But I want to see how he looks with his meniscus issue, right? He had that partial tear strain, obviously, during the play-in. So I want to see what he looks like. I want to see what Duncan looks like. Terry. I want to see what Jovic looks like, all coming back for injury. So we'll be back with maybe some post-game analysis. We'll come back with you just more information around training camp. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's all I have. You guys have
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Miami Heat Talk, Team to Be Miami Heat Network. Don't forget Martell, Miami Heat Zone Podcast. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for the support. And until next time, your boys out. That's enough said.